is this, I think. I don't know. I've heard a couple other guys teach this, and ladies. But it says that he's cast to the earth because of this event right here. And he knows that he has a very short time, so he goes about the earth just with the greatest wrath he's ever had, okay? So now can I possibly really throws a tantrum once he's thrown to earth, because he knows that this is it. I got kicked out of heaven. God, I crossed the line. God's had enough. I'm not getting back into heaven. My judgment is very, very near. He knows. So he's furious, and he just unleashes his full wrath upon the earth. That's the last half of the 7-year Great Tribulation. Can I?
Doesn't it sound like Satan traveled between earth and heaven?
See, I was going to say, can I possibly back this up biblically? And I can. And go ahead first, Greg, and then we'll.
In other words, referring back to Job, where Satan goes to and fro from heaven to earth, the accuser of the brethren.
Yes. Listen, where do we get that term?
Still going to and fro?
Well, so where do we get that term, the accuser of the brethren, who stands before God night and day, right?
I'm not sure where it's at.
It's in Revelation chapter 12.
Okay.
It's here. It's after the abomination of desolation. It says he's finally cast down. So for Satan to stand before God night and day accusing the brethren, where is God? He's not in Hades, of course, right? And Satan's never been there either, by the way, yet. That's another one that people get. Don't watch like Warner Brothers cartoons. You'll be very, very confused. God's not sitting on his throne on earth. His throne isn't on earth. His throne is up in heaven. So where's the courtroom where God sits as judge? That is in heaven. Okay. And again, can I back this up biblically? Yes. And John Dahl just said it. Say it again. Where do we find an example of this?
You mean Job talking?
The book of Job, and it's actually the beginning of Job. In Job chapter 1 and chapter 2, it says, the sons of God presented themselves before God, and Satan was among them. Okay, so and then also in the Gospels, even New Testament, Jesus himself, he sends the disciples out, and they go out and they cast out demons, they perform miracles, and when they come back, Jesus tells them that this vision that he's had now because of what these guys are starting. He says, and I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Now this all, Job, Jesus' words, flies in the face of what's normally taught, that this event in Revelation chapter 12 happened way back in the past, way back in the Garden of Eden. You know why people teach that? Because that's what I would do. If I was God, as soon as Satan tricked Adam and Eve in the garden, Genesis chapter 3, I'm cursing him, I'm kicking him out of the garden. Well, of course, he's never going to be allowed in heaven again. Not after this, man. I mean, my beautiful creation, they were never supposed to die, right? And now, death is into the world, right? I just said I lost my dad. Been talking about that quite a bit. That was not God's intent. God hates death, and Satan is the one who caused this in essence. I mean, Adam and Eve, you need to get some credit there, right? But if I was God, man, I would never let that guy back into heaven. He lost all his rights. But God doesn't think that way. He doesn't think like we do, because he's perfect. He's perfectly just, and he does not break his own laws, his own systems of rules. And apparently, according to God's own system of justice, Satan has to do something a whole lot worse to lose his right. He has a right to stand before God in heaven. It's a right. You see movies sometimes. I mean, I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings, but I can't think of a specific example. Actually, I can't. I just don't remember their names. But where you have like a king, and he's on his throne. He's in his courtroom. He's in his court, and he's got a really good son who is so welcome. But then he has this evil son who the king knows is up to no good. But legally, he has to let that guy, because he's just. He's a just king. He lets that evil son into court, and it's only when the
I don't think that one's in Lord of the Rings. I think you're
No, it kind of is. I'm thinking of. No, you're right. I think I'm mixing up. But in the second one, Boromir and.
Maybe,
Remember, it's.
yeah, Boromir and Faramir.
Faramir. Yeah. Did I mess up the story? But you get the point, right?
He's just biased.
Okay, I gotcha.
But I get what you're saying.
But you get what I'm saying. Okay, and this is off the top of my head, so I should have thought of an example like way in advance. Sorry, I'll do better next time. But this is the God that we serve. He's perfect and he's just, and apparently, okay, because I don't know what this rule is, but Satan still has the right to this day to stand before God, before his throne, and accuse the brethren. Okay, and it's this event where he loses that. Go ahead, Elijah. Do you have your hand up?
Yeah. So just tech update. A weird thing happened. We're running 2 parallel live streams.
Oh, okay.
If you want to hop on your Facebook and go back to the live event.
Okay, so those of you,
One to pick from, and the other one is live. So we get
exciting. So keep that going. So I don't know. You guys probably didn't hear Elijah, but he just said that he got it working.
So everybody hop over before we do video.
So if you want to, you should. You're gonna have a better experience. Drop off this live stream, the one with Ben's phone, as nice as it is of Ben to do this, right? And you can flip over to our regular live stream, and you're going to get the full quality production. Okay. So, anyways, how did I? Yes. How did I get into all this? So, and keep an eye on that live stream. Once people are completely gone, if that happens, then you can go ahead and kill that, I guess. So, okay. So again, what 2 chapters constitute our mini chronology of the 7-year Great Tribulation? What we call that? Huh? 11 and 12. So the very beginning of Revelation chapter 11 is what? It's this verse up here on the screen, right? So, and again, this is how it starts, by telling us that there is a third temple. There is a third temple that, at this point, though, it's in this half of the chronology. Is it complete?
No.
It's not. It's under construction during all of Revelation chapter 11. And how long is Revelation chapter 11 again? 3.5 years. And another way of saying, like, if you were going to say 3.5 years but use months instead of years, how would you say that?
40.
What?
42 months?
42 months. And either you calculated it in your head, which impresses me, or you just read on the screen. There it is right there, 42 months, right? Okay, so, but here's the thing, though. So here's what we want to look at. So the temple's under construction, and John sees this. It specifically mentions the altar for a very specific reason. And Ben, I don't know if you and Mark, if you guys remember from the Temple Institute, what special thing about the altar they said pertaining to the construction of the third temple? Because they're ready for it.
The incense altar or the
Good question. It's the sacrificial altar, the altar of sacrifice. Yep.
It has to be made out of earth. So back in Second Temple period, that would be stones and mud is more.
Right, and you can, and the stone has to be like, it could never be struck by iron.
Yep. So
It hasn't been worked with iron. Welcome to Dombi, watching from South Africa. I still pronounce your name wrong. I'm so sorry. Yeah, welcome. Glad you're watching. Devo's watching, Cindy and Glenn, and Jackie Stick. So welcome. And again, you guys, if you'd like.
On live stream, we would just like to say again, with we have 2 live streams running now currently.
If you want the better version, drop off.
If
Yeah.
you switch over to the other one,
Where video starts.
it is of much better quality.
Yep. So we'll see how many drop off. It looks like a couple are. All right. So this is cool. Though. Watch this.
I'm gonna work
So
on getting a link up.
so what does this mean, everybody? Okay, that'd be fine. Yeah, so Elijah might put a link up for you guys. So, but leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will tread Jerusalem underfoot for 3.5 years. Does anyone remember from our earlier discussions about this years ago? Gosh, what that's referring to? What does that mean? Go ahead, Greg.
That might be off the path a little bit, but it means they're taking the Temple Mount away from the Islam or the other religious people in the area, and that's going to cause turmoil.
For sure.
Give that up lightly.
They won't give it up lightly. They will give it up willingly, though, because the Antichrist will convince them. Because the Antichrist, many Jews will believe that he is, briefly for this time period, will believe that he's their long-awaited Mashiach. He's the Messiah, with apologies, my Jewish friends. But we talk about all this. We talked about this at Shabbat dinner, our last night in Israel, remember, with full Orthodox Jews. They were very interested in this. And to the Muslims, he will be the Mahdi, which is the Muslim Messiah that they've been waiting for 1,500 years, 1,600 years, and then the world in general, atheists, maybe not in a supernatural sense, but this guy is like a savior of the world. The world's just been obliterated by this major cosmic impact event, and this guy comes along with solutions apparently. To the Buddhists, he'll be the Maitreya. To the Hindus, he'll be the Kalki. And to many Christians, even though it'll be from a point of deception, they won't really think he's Jesus. I mean, maybe some nutty ones will, but for them, he'll kind of take that place. He's a savior sent by God, right? So he'll even be kind of Christ-like to a lot of Christians. We know that because 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 4 tells us that during the time of the Antichrist, there'll be a great falling away of believers, a great apostasy. A lot of Christians will follow this guy, right? So, but here's how he pulls it off. Okay, so the court, which is outside the temple, has been given to the Gentiles. Now check this out. This is so interesting. So this I got this from National Geographic years ago. It's an insert in a magazine from like 20-something years ago. And then Brian McLaughlin, who some of you know, printed up a huge version for me that's now hanging on the wall in my office, right? But this is one of the most accurate depictions that I've seen, according to my understanding, of the Temple Mount in the time of King Solomon. So at the top here is what the Temple Mount looked like. It was much smaller back then than it is today, and King Solomon's temple would have sat just about like that. Here's the altar in front of it. Oh, I forgot to make my point about the altar. The point about the altar is the reason it's mentioned in Revelation is that the daily sacrifice can begin not when the temple is completed, and not even when temple construction begins. It's the day that they place the altar of sacrifice on the Temple Mount where it's supposed to sit, which is about where the Dome of the Chain is now. Mark, you remember that little dome by the Dome of the Rock that looked kind of like the Dome of the Rock, but it's like smaller, right?
You mean the center of the world?
Yes, the center of the world, right? Yeah, exactly. Remember that our guide pointed out. Yep. So that's about where the altar will stand. But as soon as that stands, then the Jews can resume the daily sacrifice. One lamb in the morning, one in the evening, and then the incense offering. Maybe they'll start that at the same time. But when that happens, that's when the temple is officially the temple. Okay, that's when the sacrifices begin, and presumably that's when the maybe around that time they'll recover the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, we'll see. We'll be over there when all this starts. I'm buying plane tickets for everybody, so we'll know firsthand, right?
We
But
had to order the banner first.
the banner, welcome back, Jesus, right? Yeah, my dad's coming back with him. I'll put my dad's name on there. You guys can all put your loved ones' names on there, whoever we're expecting back. So Pastor Dan. So on this fantastic graphic that National Geographic did, what's this at the very top? Can you guys guess what that is? And see how everything goes straight down. This all lines up. That's what this vertical line is here. What's that thing at the very, very top? That's the foundation stone. That's the peak of Mount Moriah. That's what was inside King Solomon's temple. This is where the Ark of the Covenant sat. Okay? And today, if any of us were allowed in the Dome of the Rock, I'm still working on that, we would actually notice on the foundation stone a rectangular cutout, depression, like cutout, right? That is exactly 2.5 cubits long by 1.5 cubits wide. And what is that the dimensions of? Exodus chapter 25. It's the Ark of the Covenant. Okay. And Lean Rittmeyer was the archaeologist whose team discovered that they discovered it. They identified it in the late 1970s, if I remember correctly. And they determined that depression is 3,000 years old, which lines up perfectly with the time that King Solomon's temple was built, right? So you follow that straight down, and so the foundation stone would have been in the same place in the second temple, and this is the version that King Herod built, right? Now where was the Ark of the Covenant at this time? Do you guys remember? I'm going all over the place tonight. I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. Where was the Ark of the Covenant?
During whose time?
During the time of the second temple.
In the Holy of Holies?
This is the Holy Holy, yeah.
Was it? Was it in the Holy of Holies?
It wasn't there in the second
Oh,
temple.
that's right.
Where was it though, Ernie? You know.
Well, after the Babylonians, they took it and moved it something.
The priest did. The priest actually hid it directly underneath the foundation stone. It's in a secret cave. That's from Maimonides. Even Second Chronicles goes into that, right? I think it's second or the first that it goes into that's where the Ark of the Covenant is hidden inside the Temple Mount. Directly underneath that. But anyway, so the second temple stood here. So here's where it gets interesting. So what does it say in Revelation? What did we just read? Leave out the court that's outside the temple because it has been given over to the Gentiles. What's the court outside the temple? This is the temple complex. So the court would be all this area out here, still on the Temple Mount, but not in the temple complex. Okay, well, specifically during the time of King Herod, this section of the outer courts had a specific name. Can anyone guess?
Or the Gentiles.
The court of the Gentiles, exactly. Now,
Yeah, it was.
What's that?
And the area to on the depiction to the far as the bottom is that's like where all the Romans would hang out. They were
Yeah, this was called
officials and-
the Royal Stoa. That's this structure you see here. So again, this is what the Temple Mount looked like 2,000 years ago, just before the second temple was destroyed by the Romans, right? So this was the temple that Jesus was at. Jesus taught here, and you know, exactly, Ben, that's exactly right. That's why this is called the court of the Gentiles, because the Gentiles were allowed to hang out here. So King Herod specifically had this fancy porch built called the Royal Stoa, which is where he'd sit and hang out with the Roman, you know, politicians and the rich people, and would kind of entertain them there. They couldn't get near the temple; they weren't allowed. So this is the court of the Gentiles. Now, what does this have to do with Revelation chapter 11? Why would John write this? You know, this is what the angel said to him: leave out the outer courts because it has been given over to the Gentiles. And again, it calls to mind the court of the Gentiles, because we're talking about way into John's future when he wrote this to our modern day. So 2,000 years later, we go down, and what's standing again where the Holy Temple once stood, and where the third temple has to be built? The Dome of the Rock. And it's not a mosque. That's kind of a key point. It's actually not a mosque. It's just a shrine, because a mosque can never be destroyed, period. So no Muslim on earth would ever agree to that. This is just a shrine. So hypothetically, if conditions were just right, and if someone came along who was just convincing enough, he might just convince the Muslims to willingly and peaceably, you know, quote unquote, allow this to be moved, removed, whatever, so that the Jews can rebuild their temple there. Okay, but today, what is standing in the court of the Gentiles? And that's what Revelation chapter 11 is about. What's standing there today? What's there today? Mark, do you remember? The Al-Aqsa Mosque. Very, very good. It's so cool you guys have been there, because now you're just like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I've been there, man. I know. Yeah, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So the Muslim mosque is standing there. So what does Revelation chapter 11 imply then? What it implies, and I've been saying this for years, it's actually in part 1 of my book series, maybe part 2.
Oh, that's going to be given over to them, and that's also a key point in how it would allow for the third temple to be built. Is that the Al-Aqsa Mosque is allowed to stay there.
A+, exactly what Ben just said. So what Revelation chapter 11 seems to be describing, which like Ben just very astutely pointed out, now it kind of makes sense. As long as the Jews don't hurt the mosque, they don't knock down the mosque, you know, for whatever the conditions are at that time, soon coming, they're going to be willing to let the dome be moved or whatever, and the Jewish temple to be built there. So during the Great Tribulation, the entire Great Tribulation, during the first half, it'll be under construction, the temple. During the second half, it'll be completed, but the Antichrist will be sitting there. So it's going to be messy, the whole thing. But the Jewish temple will be sitting here in the middle of the Temple Mount, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque will remain standing here on the southern end. And for the first half, the Jews will be worshiping here. 3.5 years, they'll be doing the daily sacrifice. Temple's under construction. During the second half, though, they won't be up here worshiping. Where will they be, Mark and Ben?
They'll be cast out, killed, like they.
No, where are they going to be? They're going to be hiding someplace specifically. Come on.
Of course, they're going to cross the River Jordan, and then they're going to go into Petra.
Yes, and pay $100 for a camel ride. Exactly, right? Yeah, been there, done that.
You know, it's $10 to get.
Oh man.
And it's only when you want to get off and take charge.
I think exactly. Yeah, those.
10 hours ride.
Yeah, it's $10 to ride the camel, man. Get on the camel. But when you get to the end of the ride, it's $100 for them to let you off. So yeah, exactly. That's Bedouins. I love them. I love Bedouins. Anyways, and now talk about a rabbit trail, and apologies to the live stream audience, everything. But did I ever tell you guys about the coin? Remember? Remember the fake coin that I got from my twin brother? You ready for this? It's real.
Is it?
The coin, it turns out the coin's real. I took it to the coin shop here. They're on the phone. They're all looking at it. They're all analyzing it. They're online. And they said, this thing's 100% real. Okay.
Wow.
So
I actually get mine.
get yours checked too. So what that means, so this Bedouin guy that we hired, we were actually staying at their house. I'm telling the audience this now, the live stream audience. We asked him, would you be our guide, show us around Petra? And he did. It was great. You know, packed a lunch for us, all that stuff. It was a good day. When we start off in the morning, we get way out. We're out in the hills of Mount Seir and just all desert and beautiful, dramatic. And way up on this hill, there's this like little tent complex, right? Several tents up there. Well, it turns out it's his mom. She set up shop up there for guys like us, like tourists, right? So she's making Arabic coffee. Wasn't that good?
Oh, it was so
I got Ben hooked.
It was so good.
Yeah, his parents are so mad at me. I got him hooked on that.
I liked it enough that I now imported.
He actually bought like an Arabic coffee thing. He's making it now. So
It's so good.
so she had all this stuff she's selling, of course. Well, she had this box of coins, and I thought, well, a tradition I always have with my twin brother is whenever I travel, I bring him home a fake coin. So of course these are going to be fake.
You always try to get him a real coin.
It's always supposed to be real, but they always try to be fake, right?
This is the first real coin you got.
It is the first real coin I've ever got for here. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. That's exactly right. But do you guys remember what made me convinced that this thing had to be fake? Because do you remember why?
Because it says in Roman letters, Petra.
It actually says Petra on it. I mean, come on. This is obviously like made for tourists, right? It doesn't say Petra. The first letter is kind of smudged. It says Tetra, which is the name of a Roman coin. That's a denomination of a Roman coin. So, isn't that funny? So, anyways, the coin is real.
Back to how old's the coin?
The coin is 2,000 years old. This Bedouin family, they insisted. I'm like, I know this is fake, and they're like, no. And they insisted that their family actually would go out in the mountains, and they. Yeah.
He said that his father, he is a shepherd. He would find these coins.
Yeah. And we found a bunch of pottery shards, Roman, Nabatean.
Me and you were like laughing, going down that mountain. We're like, we know we got that fake coins.
Yeah, of course it's fake.
We're looking
Yeah.
at it, we're like, we know.
And then everybody's got coins going down, and maybe those.
He swore that they were real.
He swore that they were real, and he was telling the truth.
Yeah, he said.
He said he'd give me my money back. Like, I'm going to go back to Jordan to get my. But now, whenever I get back there, I'm going to stay with him again, and we're going to hang out. Yeah, it's what a great guy. So, anyways, so how did I get off on the coin? Oh my gosh, what was I talking about? Yeah.
It's a fun rabbit trail. It's fun.
I had to go down there. Yeah. So the Jews during Revelation chapter 12 will not be anywhere near the Temple Mount because the Antichrist will be pursuing them. Judaism has now been outlawed. Christianity too, by the way. And if he catches a Jew or if he catches a Christian, what's the penalty? He cuts our heads off. Okay, we refuse to take the mark of the beast because we're enemies of the state now. We are threats to public health and safety. Okay, right? Watch what you say, Ron. You don't want this YouTube video to get deleted, right? What? Shh. Okay, cut that from the video. So anyways, yeah. So, but yeah. So the point is this. Let me get back to the point. Revelation chapter 11. Leave out the court that is outside the temple complex, where it has been given to the Gentiles. This is the court of the Gentiles. That tells us this. Okay. So again, what is the end time story? The Jewish temple is here in the center of the Temple Mount, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Muslim mosque, remains standing here. So the Muslims are worshiping on the southern end of the Temple Mount, and the Jews are now worshiping in the center of the Temple Mount, right? Okay, now finally, after all that, an hour later, my gosh, I knew this would happen. Let's get to our news item. Do you guys remember that this is like the whole way that I preface this? It's okay. I'm having a good time. I don't care. Hope you guys are learning something. So, hold on. What do I do here? Oh, there we go. So let me get over here. So this just came out in the Israeli press just within the last week. Where did it go? Did you guys close my browser? I bet you did. That's okay. I'll find it again. I won't blame you guys for that.
So what was the point?
Nope.
Has 10 million tabs open.
Yeah, I know, but it's a different browser that I had to open. that had this news item. You know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it up that fast. So I'll just tell you about it. Is that okay? So what this is that this MK, which means Minister of the Knesset. Do you guys remember what the Knesset is? I was going to read the article, but we don't need to. I'll explain it. Huh?
Like their Senate.
It's their version of Congress, actually, yeah. Or you could say the Senate, yeah. So he's like a congressman, so highest level of politician in Israel. This is like a congressman, like we would have in Washington, D.C., and he is introducing a bill now that has no chance of passing, I don't think, unless the Great Tribulation is like, a month away, and it could be, who knows, right? But he's proposing legislation now. Actually, just in this one part here, we can get the gist of this. We don't have to read the whole article. Amit Halevi's plan would give Muslims control of the southern end of the Temple Mount complex, which contains the Al-Aqsa Mosque, while Jews would receive the central and northern areas. Isn't that crazy?
Does that include the Dome of the Rock?
Yes, that's the. Let me go back to this slide. That is the center. This is the center of the Temple Mount. Yeah,
So he knows what he's doing.
he knows exactly what he's doing. So do you guys remember last class? It was a few weeks ago, but do you guys remember what we were talking about? And it was our first bit of research up on the Temple Mount. That my research team, right? My guys did. What did we do? What was the very first thing, Mark? We were still jet lagged and early in the morning, day one. We went up on the Temple Mount, right, with our amazing guide who used to be head of Temple, and then
Captain Ami.
yes, Ami Meitav is his name, right? We were just talking today on WhatsApp. I'm staying in touch with that guy. You guys know why. But do you guys remember the 3 amazing things that we noticed up there that I've never seen in any news article? Okay, do you guys remember? So the first one.
You talked about the model of the temple.
So the first one is right when you get there. When I was on the Temple Mount back in 2017 and 2014, 2012, you go through security. It's very not fun, very impersonal. They're kind of impatient with you, going through the X-ray machines. But now you go in, they're very nice. And when I say they, I'm talking about the Israeli police. And then you immediately go into this nice like room that they've created with this beautiful model of the temple, of the Holy Temple, and then these like charts on the wall or maps on the wall, like aerial views of the Temple Mount, showing where the Holy Temple once stood and where do you think they put it? Right over the Dome of the Rock. It's very provocative, but no Muslims ever go through this gate, so they'd never see it. Okay, so unless they watch our videos, now I'm giving the whole thing away, right? And not only that, but there's actually like cookies and coffee right there for free. I mean they, right? They're really schmoozing you when you come in. And what is the message that we're supposed to, at the very least, subconsciously take away from this experience? That this is what the Temple Mount's about. This it's a statement. It's a gigantic political statement. This is what the Temple Mount is about. It's not about the mosque. It's not about the Dome of the Rock. It's not about getting like an interesting view of the old city or whatever, the Mount of Olives. This is what it's about. It's about the Holy Temple. It's about the Jewish temple. So does that imply then? And am I kind of grasping straws here? Because listen. When Ami came and started us on the tour, the first thing he did is stop along the ramp that goes up there, right? And we're looking down the Western Wall, and he said, see all these Jews? They're worshiping at the base of a retaining wall. I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that. He said that they all say this is the holiest site in Judaism. It's not. The holiest site is up there where the Dome of the Rock is standing. This is the head of Temple Mount security for 20 years saying this to us, these American guys, right? Just off the charts amazing. But what this tells me is that the Israeli Jewish mindset is going more and more toward that Holy Temple. They just had. So in addition to this, you get up on top and what did we see, or more to the point, what did we not see that I very much expect to go ahead? What police? The Muslim police, the Jordanian Waqf. Okay, so back in 1967, when Moshe Dayan, for whatever bizarre reason, well, it was God. I mean, it all has to be God's timing. They recaptured the Temple Mount. The Jews did after 2,000 years. Most of that time, not being able to get anywhere near it. What did he say?
And then he said the dumbest thing.
It was the stupidest thing.
Vatican on the Temple Mount.
like if you want to like slap Jews and Christians in the face simultaneously, say that, at least Catholics, like we don't get real offended by that, but that was like the most offensive thing. The Jews are all up there and they're posing with the Israeli flag up there, and it is the greatest day in the history of Judaism, hypothetically. I mean, it really is the greatest day in the history of Judaism. They have recaptured the Temple Mount. They're going to rebuild the temple. And Moshe Dayan, who was in charge of the armed forces that time, he came in and said, nope, we just finished this war. We finished it in 6 days. All of our Arab neighbors want to wipe us off the map. We don't want to provoke them further. How can you provoke them further? They're trying to push you into the sea. Like how can you? It's not going to get worse than that, right? He said, nope, we're going to maintain the status quo, is what they call it, right? And at that time, the Israeli government they let the Jordanians, who had been controlling this area, by the way, for the last 19 years at this point, they let them stay up there. You guys keep running the show. We'll put a couple policemen up here, Israeli, and we'll make sure the Muslims worship freely. But if we see a Jew even moving their lips up there, they're going to jail. And this was happening even as recently as 2017. Last time I was up there, they were arresting Jews up there just for like rocking back and forth. Oh, that looks like you're praying. You're going to jail, right? And they banned them from the Temple Mount. We interviewed Rabbi Yehuda Glick, remember? He was a major Temple Mount activist back then, still is today in a different way. And he'd been to jail several times. He got banned by Netanyahu himself for a couple of years. He's allowed back up there now. Well, anyway, so as recently, every time I've been up on the Temple Mount, the Jordanian Waqf, these Jordanian Muslim police, they know you're not Muslim. They are giving you dirty looks. They're following you. In 2017, I tried to do my usual shtick with the taking films. Nope, not allowed to film up here. And he was very threatening. Like that's one of my strongest memories of me turning on the Pastor Ryan charm, and it did not work. I mean, at all. I mean, oh man, like I'm just nice and oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, here we'll be friends. And I think I even said salam alaikum to him or something. Something Muslim sounding. And this guy did not crack a grin. He wanted to like throw me out the Temple Mount. Wow. Anyways, this time, fast forward 6 years, we're all up there. Not a hint, not a sign of the Jordanian Waqf anywhere. What is going on? And Ami told us, our guide told us, he said, yeah, we've had it with these guys. We're not letting them be up here. We're running the show now. It's against the law. It's literally against Israeli law and hypothetically international law for the Israeli police to call the shots on the Temple Mount. They're doing it. And because of that, we saw number 3, off the charts, unthinkable. We actually saw a group of Orthodox Jews up there. What were they doing?
They were praying.
Actually praying, sitting there full on, openly praying, and the Israeli police are with them, and they're just totally casual. They were protecting them. They were protecting them, right? So all of this is indicating that the Israeli mindset's moving closer and closer. And this guy, this Israeli politician, right, akin to our a congressman, huh? What about him?
To see more about him. Who is he?
I never heard of him before this article, so I'm going to research him more. But he's actually proposing a bill in the Knesset. Again, has no chance of passing, okay, unless. But so what's the purpose of even proposing it? Because it's making a statement. We're ready for this because what the article actually says, and I wish, I'm sure I'm probably the one that closed the browser, but I wish it was up so I could read it to you, the whole thing. But you can look it up online. But what he describes is look, the mosque stays standing. He didn't say anything about moving the Dome of the Rock or rebuilding the temple. But the point I made, remember when we were up there, guys, that do you think, I said this in the last class, do you think that the Jews, that now that they're up there and they're allowed to pray, and now this guy's proposing this idea that, hey, why don't we let the Jews kind of like have full access to the center of the Temple Mount where the Dome of the Rock is, that the Jews are going to stop there? They're going to be content with that? What's the next step? They're going to rebuild the temple. We are so close to this. Go ahead, Ben.
So I would like to make a quick announcement for the stream.
Yes.
My phone is about to die.
Okay.
So,
oh, brother.
please,
So go find the other stream.
So we have the link up. Please move from this stream and go on to the other stream.
So if you exit this live stream, everybody, and you go to the These Final Days Facebook page, you'll see the other stream running, and it's a way better production. Thank you, Elijah, for getting that done. Give Elijah a hand. That's amazing you accomplished that. So, all right, I had a feeling I'd do that, like take almost the whole night just with that news item, but rabbit trails. Anyways, this is what we're supposed to be talking about tonight. Yeah, isn't it though?
Oh my goodness,
So.
we didn't even touch it, did we?
Well, I mean, I did talk about when we were on the Temple Mount, a few weeks ago, right? So, so again, so for the next however many classes it takes us to get through it, we're going to be discussing and looking at the actual research that we accomplished while we were in Israel and Jordan. And if you guys want, I'm going to let you out a little bit early, I think. But can I at least introduce like my next topic I want to get into with this? Do you guys remember where I left off in the last class with this picture here? Okay, so the next item is called Zedekiah's Cave. This is the next little piece of our research we accomplished there, and this was on the same day that we did the Temple Mount because I ran these guys hardcore over there. Connie, you probably heard about it. Go. So
It was great.
it wasn't it great? Yeah.
But great.
Yeah, I think I lost like 20 pounds on the trip and didn't mean to. We were eating like pigs. I mean, baklava every day. Oh, it was so great. Even here, right? So we're in this place called the Austrian Hotel. Okay, and because it was run by Austrians and it was mostly Austrian citizens there. Kind of funny, like a little embassy almost, right in the middle of the old city of Jerusalem. So we're drinking Austrian coffees, very good. I didn't know where my camera was. I'm looking off the side, but you can see I'm enjoying my coffee. Ben's got his, and this is strudel, so real Austrian strudel. It was so good, right? So how we ended up here is after we were done up on the Temple Mount, our guide that we had hired, and me, he walked us out, and we're walking through the old city. And he said, "Hey, I want to drop you guys off at this really great cafe. I always leave all my tours here, and I'm going to take off, but I want you guys to go inside and sit down and take a little break and drink some coffee, have some strudel," right? So we did that. But that was an interesting coincidence because this actually pertained directly to our next stop on the tour, which again was Zedekiah's Cave. Can anybody guess what in the world, not you because you were there, what in the world would this cafe with the coffee and the strudel have to do with Zedekiah's Cave? Of course you don't know, and I don't even know why I asked the question, just to be provocative. Oh, look, there's a cross back there. Yeah, Jesus is on it, so they must be Catholic. So I'm sorry. Yeah, if you see Jesus on the cross, that's Catholic. If he's off the cross, that's Protestant. I don't know. So so from here we went on to meet our guide at Zedekiah's Cave. Do you guys remember his name? That guy was cool, just expert. The archaeologists. So everywhere we went on this trip, we actually hired like the top archaeologists, top guides. Because more than ever, I wanted to get the inside story, inside track. So we did the fundraiser because these guys, we had to pay them, and then I had some other stuff. But so we had our little break, and then from there, I'll show you. So here's the Temple Mount. We did our tour up there, and we exited this is where you go up onto the Temple Mount if you're not a Muslim. This is where the Mughrabi ramp is. And this is the Western Wall where they all pray. This is the Muslim quarter, this whole green area here. And when you're done at the Temple Mount, here's the Dome of the Rock, here's the Al-Aqsa Mosque. You exit out through a gate right here. I think it's called the Sheep Gate, if I remember correctly. And we walked out here, and then he walked us down to about here. And this is where the Austrian Hotel is, that great cafe. Okay, we took our little break, and then from here we walked out and walked down. Actually, I'm wrong. It's about, maybe that is it. That's probably it right there. We walked down to here and exited out through, what's this called? Does anybody know this gate? You guys should remember, Ben and Mark. Maybe not.
Was it
It's
the Jaffa Gate?
Nope. Good guess though. It's this gate here. The Jaffa Gate's over here.
Right.
The what? Nope. That's over here.
Wait, no. Is it the Dung Gate?
The Dung Gate is down here. So you just hit the east, south, and west sides of the Temple Mount. This is on the north side. The old city. The old city.
We eventually will get through all the gates, so
The Damascus Gate. Yes, you got it. Do you guys remember that? It's called the Damascus Gate. This is the main gate that goes from East Jerusalem into the old city, and specifically into the Muslim quarter, and then this is the Christian quarter here. This is the Armenian quarter. This is the Jewish quarter, right? So we exited out through the Damascus Gate, and on our way to Zedekiah's Cave. Now this is really bizarre, but I'd never heard of this place, and it has another name that is very intriguing. So if you understand why it's called Zedekiah's Cave, which we're going to get to that in itself is intriguing, okay? But the other name really got my attention. Does anyone know? Do you guys remember? There's another name for Zedekiah's Cave. Do you remember?
Solomon's Quarries.
Yes, King Solomon's Quarries, or just Solomon's Quarries, right? But when I first spotted this on a map way back in 2017, I thought, okay, this is just another dumb tourist site. It can't be a legitimate site because I always say, like, Jerusalem's like Disneyland. There's some real stuff there, but there's a lot of fake stuff there, right? So of course this is another fake site, because where Zedekiah's Cave, the Solomon's Quarry, is right here about 500 feet to the east of the Damascus Gate, and the entrance to it is right in the wall of the old city. So somebody dug a hole and decided to call it Solomon's Quarries, and they'll sell you some food, they'll sell you some T-shirts, but it can't be a real site. As it turns out, it's a real site. Okay, do you guys remember this from 2017, Zedekiah's Cave? This is a cool story. I hope you don't, because I'm going to remind you of a couple of things. This picture, by the way, this is the Damascus Gate. This is the old city, and I just want to point this out because it's so cool. See that back there? What's that? Yeah, you can see the Dome of the Rock right back there. So I love this picture. Just found this recently. So you walk out this gate, you turn right, you go up these steps, and you walk along the wall again about 500 feet, and then you get to Zedekiah's Cave, right there. The entrance is right there in the wall of the old city. Really bizarre, right? And here's the name. I guess they're pushing that name, King Solomon's Quarries, right? So again, way back in 2017, I don't know why I include this. This just some, what has this been?
Coffee.
You have to have Arabic coffee in you before you go into a cave. It's kind of like the law in Israel, okay?
You shovel so much Arabic coffee while you're over there.
I know I haven't slept since we got home from Israel, so I still can't sleep. So, but this is actually me back in 2017. This is the first time that I went to Zedekiah's Cave, and I want to share with you. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to start off with showing you just a couple of clips. They're kind of long clips, but I'm going to show you a little bit of my experience in Zedekiah's Cave way back in 2017 before I get to our current expedition there. Oh, he's saying don't close that. Okay, I've still got half a dozen people on that.
We gotta do video. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna video over.
Oh, okay. So everybody on the live stream, stay tuned. Mary Shedden, thank you for joining. She's asking what link are we supposed to be looking at?
Yeah, I went ahead and answered that.
Okay, good.
It doesn't look like we have a way to move everybody over automatically. Go ahead and end this stream, and you should be able to go back to the live video, and now we should just direct.
Okay, so you're saying you're going to end Ben's stream? Okay, so everybody, when you get cut off, just switch over to the other. And again, sorry for the inconvenience. We'll do better next time. So.
Oh. There we go. I was a bit behind.
Okay. Oh, yep. I just saw that I lost it on here, so that's okay. I'm just going to leave that off. So. All right. So, everybody ready? Let's do our. Let's do our video here. Bear with me for just a second while I pull it up. Give me a couple seconds here. See how quickly I can do this. 2017 research trip. There it is. Hold on, I'm sorry. Actually, yeah, and I've got to. No, I have another way to do this. So we're going to move tab to another window. I have a better way of doing it. Oh, there's my article right there, but that's okay. We're past that now. Okay, so you guys ready? So are you getting audio on the live stream? Okay, so I'm going to show you guys about the first 8 minutes or so of this video, and then we'll just call it a night. And the next time we get together, I'll continue with this. Is that okay? Unless you guys want to stay here till like 9 o'clock tonight. I bet you don't. Ernie needs to get home. He needs his beauty sleep before work tomorrow. So, okay, here we go. About 8 minutes. Yep.
Alright, just had lunch in this place. And good food there. And I'm in the Christian quarter of the Old City of Jerusalem. And we are off to get our first documentary segment on a place that I'd never even heard of until a few weeks ago. I was looking at Google Maps, planning out my day here, my first day in Jerusalem, and I was looking at the quickest route from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to the Garden Tomb, and happened to notice on the map a place called Zedekiah's Cave. And what I noticed about this is it was just a few hundred feet to the east of the Damascus Gate, right in the wall of the Old City. So the Old City is surrounded by walls that date back to the 1500s. The Ottomans built them. And so, didn't look like anything. I thought, cave next to the Damascus Gate in the wall must be just some cheesy tourist site, so I kind of ignored it. And it just kind of kept going through my head for a few days. Zedekiah's Caves, what is that? Again, never even heard of it. So finally I went back and researched it, and wow, turns out that this is actually something very, very interesting. So we're right now headed down, this is called Beit HaChabad Street, and headed toward the Damascus Gate. We're going to leave the Old City, and we are going to go visit Zedekiah's Cave, and I'll tell you the story about it when we get there. Please, just saw a few of those guys run by yelling, so something going on somewhere. So this is new. They're not letting us out of the Damascus Gate for some reason. Something's going on. So we'll see if Zedekiah's Cave is going to happen today. Not sure what this is. Never seen this before. So this is the Damascus Gate. This is the main gate between East Jerusalem and the Old City. So this is the main entrance that the Palestinians used to enter in and out of the Muslim quarter of the Old City. And again, not sure what happened here. I mean, it looks under control, but they've got it blocked off, and so something happened. Actually, I was here a little bit earlier today, and I noticed the police were frisking and questioning some Palestinian kid, a young guy, and didn't look like much of anything, so went and had my lunch, but maybe that erupted into something bigger. So just going to hang out here for a while, see what happens, and hopefully we'll get to our destination. We want to check out that cave, so we'll see. Stand by. See, no big deal. They open the gate and everybody gets to go about their day. So still not sure what the incident was, but apparently nothing too major. So we're off to our destination, which is this direction. Okay, so our story begins in 1854. There was a prominent American Bible scholar named Dr. James Barclay working in Jerusalem, and he's actually a pretty famous guy. There's even a gate in the Temple Mount called Barclay's Gate that 2 years earlier Dr. Barclay had discovered from inside the Temple Mount, which is cool. I guess you could actually go under there back in those days. And that's right next to the western wall today, and that was a hidden gate, and it's still sealed off, of course. But that's right by the Mugrabi ramp. That's the ramp that goes up onto the Temple Mount that all the non-Muslims have to use. So anyway, so 1854, Dr. Barclay is taking a nice afternoon walk on a sunny winter day just outside the walls of the old city. You can see it's the exact same walls today as then, and they're walking along. Just an ordinary day. Dr. Barclay had his son and their dog with them, and all of a sudden the dog just disappeared. So they're looking for him, calling for him, whistling for him, and no sign. And so the boy starts climbing around some of the rocky cliffs that the wall is built on, which never even occurred to me before until I started to research the story. But sure enough, yeah, here's the wall, and here's some actual natural limestone cliffs that, at least in this area, were used as the foundation to build the wall by the Ottomans in the 1500s, Ottoman Muslims. So boy starts climbing on these walls, and all of a sudden he hears barking. So he starts poking around and finds a drainage hole where it had recently rained and there was water running down into it. So Dr. Barclay sticks his head down there and was shocked to see before him, underground of course, a huge cave that to this point no one in Dr. Barclay's time even knew existed. And this is the cave. And so they retrieved the dog, and Dr. Barclay and his son went home, and the next day, Dr. Barclay and two of his colleagues disguised themselves as Arabs, and they made their way back outside the Damascus Gate, and then went up into a Muslim cemetery, which I'm not even sure what it is now. Maybe up in that area up there. Yeah, oh, sure enough. Right up there. Let me see if I can zoom in. I've never seen this before, but yeah, I'm guessing that behind that wall up there, I think I see headstones up there, I believe. So up there's the Muslim cemetery, and these three gentlemen dressed as Arabs hid in the Muslim cemetery until the gates of the city were sealed for the night. So once they were safe to come out, they made their way back to the hole in the ground and climbed down into it, made their way through the mud, and were kind of shocked and surprised, probably excited, I would be, to discover that there's a huge cave down there. So they spent the night in the cave, and they did some measurements and explored a bunch of different winding passages and tunnels. Probably just what I would have done. Man, sounds like fun to me. And so a newly discovered cave, again, newly discovered in Dr. Barclay's time. So they came out, and Dr. Barclay let the archaeological community know about it. And today it's a kind of a tourist site. But here is what we call it today. This is Zedekiah's Cave, otherwise known as, what you see there, King Solomon's Quarries. And again, you know, first glance I thought, come on, fake tourist site, but no, this is actually legit. So we are going to go check out Zedekiah's Cave, and never been in here. Again, new site for me, so let's see what we discover. So we are in Zedekiah's Cave.
Kind of intriguing, right? Isn't that cool? I love that story about how they found it had been, you know, hidden for 4 centuries, and they accidentally rediscovered it, and it was a famous archaeologist who just found it just by chance. But so again, apologies, we're not going to have another class for a few weeks here, but next class will be July 13th. come back, we're gonna talk about what is so interesting about Zedekiah's cave. Elijah, do you remember when we went up to Las Vegas to speak it? And you remember what we talked about the entire 3-hour drive up there? What did we talk about?
This cave.
Zedekiah's cave, right?
In there.
Why was I so obsessed?
Indiana Jones trip.
Indiana Jones, Ben wore the hat, stuff pertaining to the Ark of the Covenant, no joke, relating to this cave. Okay, so we'll come back next class. Go ahead, Mark. Don't give away the punchline.
Was that where there was an area that would go under the Temple Mount?
Yes, this is what we're talking about. Yes, yeah, you'll remember when we watch it next week. So so not next week, next class. So come back next class, and Elijah. I mean, we worked out a plan. Like we're going to be the guys who find the Ark of the Covenant. We had it all worked out. So and I told Elijah back then there's got to be a way. I'm going to find a way to get in deeper to this thing, to answer all the riddles, all the questions I was left with after this trip, and to get more on this next class. And we actually did that on our most recent trip there. We again hired like the top archaeologists and got the inside track on Zedekiah's cave. So fun stuff. We're going to have a good time with this. I'm going to call it a night tonight. Any questions or anything before I close tonight? Go ahead, Greg.
What kind of metal is the coin made of?
The coin that I want to say it was bronze.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 100% bronze coin. Yep. And they weighed it, and they knew what the original weight was. I mean, of course they would, of what the coin was supposed to be, and they said that the coin is in crazy good condition for being out there in the desert for 2,000 years. So you know what? And if I think of it, then next class when we get together again, I'll at least have a picture of the coin. Maybe I'll talk Aaron into bringing the coin back from Temecula and letting us pass it around.
You need to give me some information.
Oh, 100%. Just talk to me after class, and we'll.
From the same people out of this.
It's got to be a real coin. You know what? I'm kicking myself. Apologies again. Another little slight rabbit trail here. Do you remember the coin, Mark, that you almost bought for Noam, and then you decided not to? And I am kicking myself because I wish that you'd bought it or I'd bought it. What was the coin? Yeah, they actually had a coin that had a Star of David that was 2,000 years old, and we just decided, okay, these must be fake. So Mark didn't want to spend whatever they were trying to sell it for. So we'll have to go back to Petra and get that coin. So yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
I don't know this is too much to ask, but does the coin worth more than what you pay for?
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah, so I really badgered this guy's mom. I'm trying to think of his name, Wafa. I think it was his name, Wafa, and that might have been his wife's name. But I know this is a fake coin. I'm not going to pay full price, and I think I talked her down to maybe $80 on that coin. It might have been $60. Yeah, it's worth over $200. So, do I feel bad? No, they're Bedouin. They usually do that to us. So, and we paid a lot for that too, or that camel ride. So, anyways, all right, let's call it tonight. Thank you for coming out tonight. Hope you guys had a good time. Come back next class on July 13th. We'll pick up with more on Zedekiah's Cave. It's fascinating stuff. You guys will love this, so please come back. Meantime, Ernie, why don't you come up here and close in prayer, and you could leave your shades on if you want. It's my cool Clint Eastwood impersonator father-in-law.
Well, I had my eyeballs fixed, so it's too bright. Father, we thank you for your word. Increase your kingdom on this earth. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you. Have a good night, you guys. Love you. See you in a few weeks. Oh, yes. And so come back in a few weeks for the next class. In the meantime, stay filled with the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.